When is a Mitsubishi not a Mitsubishi? When it's a Nissan, of course. Welcome to Four Wheels and a Seat, where each week I review a brand new car. To make sure you don't miss one, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Now, let's talk about the Mitsubishi Outlander Exceed Tourer. The Exceed Tourer is the top spec of this mid-size SUV, and it is pretty good. And it's just such a shame that Mitsubishi haven't shared any of this good stuff with the smaller ASX, which seems to be stuck in 2007. Based on the same platform as the Nissan X-Trail, this fourth generation Outlander has grown to become almost as large as the Pajero Sport, but it does lack that car's hardcore off-road capability. The front end of the Outlander is without doubt its most striking angle, with these thin, high-mounted driving lights and mid-mounted headlight clusters. And although this grille is sort of half fake, it's got a really nice, aggressive sort of look to it. It's almost like one of Mitsubishi's designers kind of went, you know what, I'm going to draw this, they're not going to build it. Well, kudos to Mitsubishi, they did. Side on, and we've got a nice crease here that extends from the rear all the way here to the front fender. It looks really good. Two-tone paint job. It's a nice shiny black up here on the A, B and C pillars, and a black roof with roof racks. 20-inch two-tone alloys that look really good too. The rear end design plays it a little safer than the front, with some nice LED light clusters. We've got a couple of fake exhausts here, and if you were to add a tow bar on, you get a 1600 kilogram brake towing capacity. Underneath the powered boot lid, we get a 163 litre storage space with all three rows of seats up. Lower the rear ones, that extends to 478, and if you have both rows of seating down, you can add another 1000 litres to that. Under the bonnet, we've got a 2.5 litre four-cylinder naturally aspirated petrol engine that outputs 135 kilowatts of power and 244 newton meters of torque. Fuel economy, 8.1 litres per 100 kilometres on a combined cycle. Power is driven to all four wheels via a continuously variable transmission. And if I'm honest, it's really not that exciting. There is room in here for more. You could sneak a turbo in, or maybe a couple of extra cylinders, but no. One thing Mitsubishi have really got right in this car though is the interior. It is a really nice place to be. And look, after the disappointment of the ASX, I did not have high hopes for this car, but fortunately the two are nothing alike. This is brilliant. It's got a really nice design, a nice mix of materials, and the tech is pretty good too. Starting off with the center console screen, it's 9 inches. It has really pretty good software on it, native navigation, digital radio, wireless Apple CarPlay, and it's nice and responsive. It is connected to a 10-speaker Bose sound system, which sounds pretty good. Climate controls that are pretty straightforward. You can control the rear zone of climate control from up front here as well. The seat heating controls are here, and there's a couple of USBs, a USB-A, a USB-C under that, a nice big tray to store and charge your phone in wirelessly, which is always good. And then we've got the lower center console here with a unique gear shifter. I haven't seen one of these in any other Mitsubishi before, but I actually quite like it. It has a nice feel to it. It's much nicer than using a dial. But there is a dial here for your drive mode controls, and there are quite a number of different drive modes in this car. Although it's not four-wheel drive in the sense that you're going to go hardcore off-roading with it, it is all-wheel drive. So the drive modes here are eco, normal, and then there's a whole bunch of tarmac, snow, mud and dirt, that kind of thing. That basically change the way that torque is delivered to the wheels. A couple of cup holders and a really very small center console bin there with a very soft lid. I love this. Now, I'm sorry, I know it sounds weird to carry on about a bin lid, but this is so soft that even if I push all the way down on it with my thumb, I'm not hitting anything firm. That is how soft and comfortable this nice tan leather lid is. We've got a very bright head-up display on the windshield there, which is pretty simple and straightforward. The digital instrument cluster, it's a shame that Mitsubishi didn't put this into the ASX, but we've got it here, so that's a good thing. Has a couple of different display modes you can choose between. You can also customize some of the information, the trip computer style information here on the screen. You can rotate through a few different things. I like the graphics that change whenever you change drive modes. They come up and flash up on the screen, so you really get a sense of what mode you're going into, which is nice. The steering wheel has a really good feel to it. It's sort of chunky with a nice leather wrap and this sort of textured leather here on the sides with some nice stitching. Cruise controls and audio controls here on the wheel, and the seating position is really quite nice and high in the cabin with really good visibility. These seats are fantastic though. They are some of the softest leather seats I've encountered in a car lately, with this nice tan stitching. We also get some nice quilted stitching here on the door inserts and soft touch materials up here on top. In fact, all of the materials in this cabin are actually really nice. So we've got some slightly firmer, softer rubber up here on top, but some nice leather with stitching here on the midsection, and this tan detail here. It only gets a bit harsh and scratchy down below there, but you don't often touch those surfaces anyway. Some more stitching here on the lower center console. And the seats are heated as well, which is good. There is massage and full electric adjustment for the driver and front passenger with position memory for both. And again, here on the doors, we've got this very, very soft leather armrest, which just feels so nice. So it really does make this feel a little bit sort of lounge chair-like. Unfortunately, backseat passengers don't get it quite as good as the ones in the front. Even just starting with this armrest here, it's quite a bit thinner than the ones in the front. You can feel the hard plastic underneath it, but it's not a complete deal breaker. What isn't so great though is the limited amount of headroom here, because we are sitting up quite noticeably higher than the front. So my head is touching this bulge here that makes room for the rather large panoramic sunroof there, which looks good, but just at the sacrifice of headroom. But I am 190 centimeters tall, and behind my own seating position, I am touching the seat in front, but it's a nice soft seat, so it's not too bad for a short trip. We've got heated seating controls here in the center console, plus the third zone of climate control allows backseat passengers to adjust the temperature as they like it. 2 USBs, a USB-A and a USB-C for rear seat passengers, who also get a sunshade here, which would be quite nice to have, especially with that panoramic sunroof open. It does get quite warm in here pretty quickly. The seats themselves, again, very comfortable, nice soft leather. We've got an armrest here in the center seat, and that has 2 cup holders in it. So look, the back seat, it's not bad, but I've been in better. Now, there is a third row of seating back here, which obviously gets rid of a lot of boot room, but it is comically small. I mean, I have no idea who is going to fit in there, because with these seats up, even if they are leaning forward, you're going to have a lot of very uncomfortable and unhappy passengers in the back of this car. So unless you've got really small children on a very short trip, I think these are just for show. Solid and dependable are the first 2 words that leap to mind while you're driving the Mitsubishi Outlander. It's just really sturdy, well made, but being solid and dependable can also lead to being a little bit unremarkable. And it feels much bigger than it is. Seriously, this is not a compact SUV, despite what Wikipedia might say about the Outlander. It is firmly mid-size. The brakes are just a little bit on the soft side, but maybe that's just more a reflection of the electric cars that I've been driving lately with their added amount of regenerative braking, which we don't have here. You do have really good visibility in this car though. I mean, I can really see to the front of the bonnet, good visibility through the rear vision mirror, and also in the blind spots. I mean, the sills are kind of high, but not to the point where it's really impeding visibility all that much. The 2.5 litre naturally aspirated engine in this car is really nothing to write home about. It's solid and dependable, just not very exciting. So here on the freeway, it does sort of run out of puff at around about 3,500 RPM. And you're not going to have a hard time keeping up with traffic. It's just maybe pulling into traffic that's already travelling at 100 k's an hour that you might need to just be a little bit careful about. It's a reasonably quiet cabin, not the quietest, but it's okay. The ride is nice and smooth, and these seats are pretty comfortable, so you know, you can imagine doing a decent sized trip in this car and not be uncomfortable. Okay, let's give the radar cruise control a little bit of a workout. First of all, just by seeing how easy it is to turn on without having read the instructions. I'm doing a bit of button mashing here, and it doesn't seem to be quite turning on. Okay, now we got it. Yeah, so that was a little bit fiddly to do, but I imagine after a couple of goes you'd get used to it. They've got a graphic of a car in front of you here while the adaptive cruise control is on, and the car they've used to show that is a Mitsubishi Lancer, which is a car that Mitsubishi haven't made for a few years now. So I'm on a stretch of brand new tarmac here on the Harbour Bridge, which was only recently laid down, and it is really smooth and really quiet, but anything other than the newest of asphalt, and there is a little bit of road noise. The large wing mirrors here do provide really good visibility for what's going on next to you. The only thing that I'm missing, which I've had in the last couple of cars I've reviewed, and you really notice it when it's not here, and that is the blind spot cameras on the wing mirrors. They really do make such a difference. Just trying out the seat massage function here, and it's kind of weird because it's not really firm enough to be called a massage. It's as if the seat was alive and it's breathing. It's kind of breathing in, holding its breath, and then breathing out. It's alive! So that is the Mitsubishi Outlander Exceed Tourer, a comfortable, nice SUV to get you around town and maybe some light off-roading too. But its good looks and comfort can't hide the fact that it's just not very exciting to drive. But if that's not important to you, then the Outlander could be well worth checking out.